when I was young, I was always caught up in the idea that there's an external force that will save me. So I had to do prayers, and growing up from Catholic religion, that it's the same idea as Santa Claus, right? You have to be good or bad. You will be rewarded. There's always a reward after. So there's a constant trying to, this neurosis that that you're not good enough. And then I thought that I got out of that, and temporarily I became an atheist. And I felt that there was something lacking about it. So I went to spirituality, and I thought that I found it. I thought that by practicing meditation, and again, there's nothing wrong with any of practices and everything, but my idea was to be liberated, based on the idea of others that there's a liberation that needs to happen. So I started looking for enlightenment. I started looking for awakening. And I practiced meditation hours per day, did mantras, believed in the scriptures, and believed in the idea that there's something that needs to happen. So it was a repetition of a belief system that there's something lacking for this to be free. So there was this constant jumping around in many different concepts, right? So one time I was thinking maybe ascension will do it, and then it goes a little bit weird. There's channeling, and then there's the great awakening, and then there's this idea, just full of ideas of many different individuals of what liberation means to them. It's a subjective idea of what they think will free them. And of course, thinking that there's something wrong with me, feeling all of this unworthiness, I would jump into any bandwagon and gladly ride in it. But there was always a feeling that it was bullshit. But of course, there's lineages, and there's many different people that believe in this and everything. But I always wondered, how come none of them are free? When I noticed that there's no freedom in it, it's just a whole bunch of concepts, a whole bunch of rules, regulations, structures. Then I would jump to another one. It could be channeling. It could be chakras. And I would study. I was a very devout student, right? So I would study the chakra system over and over again. I think I read like 3 books, and I went to many, many workshops. I still don't understand it. I did workshops as well teaching chakras. Everybody's just trying to think that they know something that they don't. And they're running on bullshit, basically. And then I got into the idea that maybe some transcendental meditation, again, there's nothing wrong or right about that, will set me free. But it just reinforces that there's something that I need to get rid of, either thoughts or ideas or anything that, again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's very elementary. It's almost like jumping into one concept to another, thinking that you'll be free. And it's just intoxication again of the mind, thinking that there's something that needs to happen. And of course, the next line is enlightenment. And enlightenment is just a tricky one, right? Because there's this golden carrot that's always been chasing consciousness, awareness, all of that kind of stuff. I just have to abide, I have to be aware. I have to do a mantra, I have to say that I am that, and all of this stuff. And it's just really thinking of an imaginary happening, and it misses out this present moment that is just full of life, full of happening, full of possibilities. Instead, it goes back into the mind and thinking that there's something that I'm missing because a certain someone claims that they are something that's just an idea, something that's just a pipe dream, something that's just being fed to create this fascination or intoxication that one day I will be free. So it misses the freedom at the present. It overlooks what is already free. It overlooks the art, maybe doing some stuff. And it gets caught up in this neurosis, seeking and seeking and seeking something that without any words or thoughts or any ideas or the hand-me-down idea that something has to happen, it misses this. It misses whatever this is. Simple. It buys on the bullshit. and then it prepares itself to create this imagined idea that one day it will get the bullshit, but it will still be bullshit. So spirituality is just like religion. So religion, there is a what's being sold is that there's an external force, like Jesus will come back and save you. Spirituality is that something from inside will save me. What if there's no you to save? What if this is just a whole organism? What if this is really nothing? What if this is all empty? All of these are all just ideas, and it doesn't really matter. So it misses on the joy of the sunrise. It misses on the joy of friendships. It misses on the bliss of just expecting nothing. It misses on the clarity, the sobriety of what's in front. It keeps on going, internalize things, trying to figure things out when there's really nothing to figure out. So at the end of my journey in spirituality, I was depressed. I was suicidal. And all of this was just this delusion that something that needs to happen. When it saw that the idea is just simply an idea, when it saw that the concept of an individual trying to seek enlightenment is just a concept, then it sees from that clarity that there is just this, whatever this is, truth is subjective, and trying to believe hand-me-down truths just creates more confusion. Trying to trying to figure out something that does not need to be figured out just creates a lot of suffering. And then that idea that I'm not worthy happening over and over again, because a guru or a teacher will tell you, will be gatekeeping, will saying that, well, you have to abide, you have to do this more. There's a Santa Claus that's kind of like trying to correct you over and over and over again. And then you hear that they have scandals, you know what I'm saying? Or you see them like after going to an ashram and everything for 90 days or something. Then you see the guru drinking beers and smoking cigarettes. All the time they've been telling you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. So there's a different set of freedom from a guru, and there's a different set of freedom from the student. So what's being expressed is the destruction, obliteration of all of kind of like levels. Authority, yeah, it's authority. And you know what? It's this in religion, there's an authority figure. In spirituality, there's authority figure. As long as there's a teacher, a guru, or even saying even proposes that something needs to happen, someone has that key or someone has that power, is codependence. So it's basically seeing that the authority is nothing but bullshit. It's just maintaining a position that is just really subjective. It's just an idea. So what I do when I talk is basically exposes that there's just this, whatever this is. I use different words to dislodge any words that people use that keeps them trapped in an idea that they're not getting it. And it basically prods at the authority figures, right? Or the gatekeepers, and saying that it's just all a show. It's all a play. And getting stuck in that structure of a player that is trying to get something just fuels this hierarchy of authoritarian and separatist. It's almost like, people think that they get out of religion, but they just end up in a bigger jail cell called spirituality. As long as there is an authority figure, as long as there is a maintenance of someone higher than you, then you're always going to feel lower. It's always feeding from that unworthiness. So yeah, so what's being talked about is it's just so sad that a lot of people get trapped in this idea that there's something to get. I don't even say anything that there's real spirituality. It's just another construct, right? Because somebody will claim that this is real spirituality now, when it's just basically a subjective idea of what spirituality is. Why don't we get rid of the whole thing and see through, that there's really no division? Because that just creates division again. Somebody's idea of what should be and everything. So this is basically a state of I don't know, a state of basically kind of like, this is freedom, but it doesn't have any conditions based on another person. The idea, it's almost like a utopian idea of what is, but not an idea of somebody's utopia. It's whatever feels free for that character. And what seems to occur is that there's so many bullshit about somebody gets into an authority figure, right? Becomes kind of like my idea. So they call it whatever, they'll call it a name. Let's call it X spirituality. So this X spirituality gets shared and everything, and it promises it sells the idea of, liberation. A whole bunch of people come in to buy that idea of liberation. But when they come into that, there's a gatekeeping. There's people that are going to be in the inner circle of that X spirituality, and there's going to be a leader. So the leader with the kind of like, it's like a pyramid scheme basically, and it just recruits more people until it becomes kind of like an ashram, or becomes and there's someone at the top that has all the power, and that someone at the top, the inner circle maintains that top, because they're hoping to be the successor of that. But someone's claim of the truth becomes the absolute. You know what I'm saying? Someone will claim, that this is the truth. All religions have that, right? So all of the supporters would support that truth. There will be a lot of people that will be watching this video that will be supporting, whoever they believe that has the truth. So this is basically eradicating and just having a bold statement that no one has the truth. That's what I did for 20, 30 years. I can't remember the timeline. Was I was seeking for the truth. And right. I'm the kind of seeker that would turn every stone to find the truth, right? So when I, realize, and this is nothing special, right? That the one that is looking for the truth is also made up. Meaning the character, the individual is made up. So everything that it's longing for, everything that is searching for is also made up, including truth. It's almost coming to a dead end. It's almost coming into a stop sign, always coming into like, there's nowhere to go. Then there's no more truth and no truth. Everything just becomes, since we're using words here, right? Everything becomes truth and not truth simultaneously.